The year is 2008. The world reels from a global financial crisis. Millions of people across the world have their livelihoods evaporate overnight. And I was trying to grow my hair down to my ass and started singing songs about offing myself. Simpler times. Subsequently, 2008 also happened to be the year that my first ecchi anime, TM, and one of my favorite ecchi anime both released. Back then, it didn't take all that much for an ecchi show to cement itself in the minds of weebs everywhere, both because there were significantly less anime fans at the time, and because we still had hope for the future. I mean, a pink-haired main love interest, generic self-insert harem plots, some panty shots, and some brief uncensored anime titty for just a little bit of spice was pretty much all you needed. And trust me, a lot of anime took advantage of that formula. I mean, a lot of anime took advantage of that formula. But it's not 2008 anymore. That tired-ass formula just ain't gonna cut it nowadays. I've grown up. The economy somehow got worse. I cut my hair a long time ago. But I do still sing songs about offing myself. But the good news is while I've slowly been losing hope for my future, the anime industry has also lost all hope with me. As the early 2000s ecchi formula began to seem more and more stale and overplayed, mangaka and anime studios alike had to find ways to take that tried and true ecchi formula and make it new and exciting as our collective lust for dopamine became nigh-ear insatiable. Gone were the days of every ecchi anime needing a pink-haired main protagonist or the interchangeable lead brick MC-kun. Ecchi became more and more free to spread its metaphorical degenerate-ass wings. Boy did it. Relatable main characters, sci-fi, slavery, isekai, teachers, slavery, feet, armpits, slavery. Like a concerning amount of slavery. The further and further ecchi anime pushed the envelope in order to carve a lasting spot into the collective memories of every lonely weeb out there, it seems like absolutely nothing is held sacred. And recently, another subgenre was added to this ever-fermenting stew of shame and debauchery. Yeah, you know where this is going. Gushing Over Magical Girls is the latest anime to take this once-beloved children's genre full of happy stories and fun heroes and horrendously violate it with absolutely no remorse. Except this time we're not putting our beloved heroines through the ringer of extreme violence and PTSD-inducing battlefield trauma. We're putting them through the ringer of extreme sexual assault and self-hatred-inducing post-nut clarity. So, you know, it's like more fun. The anime has done its best to try to leave a mark on the collective minds of weebs worldwide, providing some of the most outrageous plot points and degenerate fan service this side of high school DD. And if that truly was the studio's goal when making this, I'd say they were pretty damn successful. At the time of writing, the anime's Blu-ray release alone has already sold over 8,000 copies. Figures are being made of the characters, and countless weebs have sung its praises since its release. But now that the series is finished up, is it really as good as people say? And does it have a great story like so many people praise it for? Well, I guess we'll just have to sit down, get out our horny bonking bats, and take a closer look at Gushing Over Magical Girls. So for those who are somehow unaware of the premise of this show, let's go through a brief rundown and see how we even got here. Our story centers around a shy, unremarkable girl named 𝐸𝒞𝒞𝐻𝐼, who is secretly obsessed with magical girls. Like, we're talking wasting her whole paycheck on figures and plastering every square inch of space on her walls with posters obsessed with magical girls. Okay, that's different. When one day she's approached by a magical mascot who offers to fulfill her dream of becoming a magical girl. Except, she wasn't transformed into a magical girl. She was transformed into... I'm sorry, what was I saying? But after some extensive persuasion and blackmail, 𝐸𝒞𝒞𝐻𝐼 finally accepts her role as the villain and decides to toy with Tres Magia. That's the magical girl group she's obsessed with. Right off the bat, this anime shows us that it's really not messing around. And the degeneracy certainly does not stop there. Tickling, feet, BDSM, you name it, it's probably there. 34 seconds in and we already get our first panty shot, and at 2 minutes and 41 seconds, yes, I counted, we already get our first uncensored anime titty. I swear to God, this show just speedruns the hentai tags list. And it only gets worse as the show goes on. After a few episodes, we meet Kiwi, an attention-obsessed girl who is willing to post anything online just to read the comments of her adoring fans. But you see, Kiwi has a small little problem. She just can't seem to stop being overshadowed by those darn magical girls. So what is an attention-starved, internet-addicted girl to do about all this? Well, you could post nudes, make a deal with an evil mascot, fight a rival villain, get your ass beat, turn gay, and then finally be cured of your attention obsession. I mean, it's not exactly the way I'd go about it, But hey, she ended up happy in the end, so good for her, I guess. Kiwi is one of those kinds of girls that I feel like I can relate to, however, considering her magical girl power is transforming into an American.
And I'm proud to be an American.
And for those of you who are fans of my older content, you can see why we have so much in common, because I am indeed a typical American doing my part to uphold our stereotype. Although, I can't really say that I relate to the whole attention addiction thing. By the way, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. But hey, we're not done with the cast yet. We still got one more edition. The obligatory lolly. Because it just wouldn't be an ecchi anime without one, would it? This is Kurisu, the attention-starved lolly whose mother is gone most of the day at work, so she acts out her familial fantasies using her magical girl powers. I'm sensing a pattern here. Kurisu is an interesting case, however, because she obviously is too young to act out anything for entertainment purposes. But as a good friend of mine, Sable Symphony, once put it,
dude, that lolly is a sick fuck.
Honestly, while Kiwi has the power of America, and Utena has the power of letting her intrusive thoughts win, Kurisu's powers allow her to basically manipulate the minds of anyone trapped in her dollhouse. And out of all the blasphemous and disgraceful things this show presents, Kurisu is responsible for probably the worst of it, which I would show you if it wouldn't take my channel down immediately. Anyways, an episode or two go by and we start to see Azure, one of the team members of Trace Magia, start fighting less and less vigorously. It's a bit of a slow onset, honestly, but over time it, are we finally gonna get some character development? Oh no, she just discovered she's a submissive degenerate.
I get what I deserve.
More on that later. The character development, not the sub-fetish thing, you sick fuck. We're then finally introduced to the big bads of the series. They are, excuse me, I just gotta put on my announcer voice real quick. 𝐸𝒞𝒞𝐻𝐼, Labor Bloom, Sister Gigant, and Lord Enorme. With their powers combined, they form an Ormita! Which is kind of confusing because technically the main cast are also part of Anormita, but they kind of get betrayed and whatever. Fast forwarding past some more plot, and we get introduced to our first boss battle out of the Elite Four. 𝐸𝒞𝒞𝐻𝐼 is an attention-obsessed wannabe idol. Swear to God, this show is literally just I wasn't given attention as a child the anime. 𝐸𝒞𝒞𝒞𝐻𝐼 intends to use her vocal powers to eliminate the magical girl competition for her rise to stardom. And after a brief fight with Kiwi and Kurisu, she gets her cheeks clapped. And I do mean that in the most literal of senses. This directly results in meeting our second boss of the Elite Four, Labor. Labor Bloom is probably the first character that I can introduce that doesn't have some severely deep-seated ish. Oh wait, never mind, there's that crushing loneliness and isolation again. But this time she only craves the attention of 𝐸𝒞𝒞𝒞𝒞𝒞, which surprisingly makes her probably the most mentally stable out of everyone here. They put up a formidable fight, but in the end, they do still end up losing. But hey, it's not all bad for them though, because through the powers of sadism and exhibition, 𝐸𝒞𝒞𝒞𝒞𝒞 learns how to sing real good. And decides to turncoat and become one of the main cast. And since Labor Bloom likes 𝐸𝒞𝒞𝒞𝒞 and doesn't really want to get her cheeks clapped for failing too, she also joins them. It is at this point in the series where the story is going to become the most fleshed out as it's going to get for the show. And I actually think that that's probably the most interesting part of this anime. Despite what Twitter would have you believe, gushing over magical girls doesn't really have a very well executed or, for that matter, important story. However, that said, the show does introduce plenty of plot elements that definitely seem like they could be very interesting if explored more. There's a lot of cool things, such as some of the character backstories, potential future conflicts of interest, and unlikely alliances. That would all be very enthralling if properly fleshed out later down the line. But for the intents and purposes of this anime as it currently stands, if you're looking for an ecchi show with a good story, you're probably best to just go watch something like Chained Soldier. Slavery! But you know what? That's okay. While gushing over magical girls may not have the most enthralling story or intricate characters or even make the most sense, What it does do is something that I feel is sorely missed in this day and age. This anime knows exactly what it's trying to be. Its purpose isn't to provide you with all of the above listed things. No. Its purpose is to have an unwavering allegiance to dumb fun and over-the-top degeneracy. I think that nowadays we get so caught up in the merits of every single piece of media that's ever released, and we put every single thing under a microscope and break it apart so much that at some point along the way, we forget how to have fun.
What could it be?
I mean, I'm also guilty of this. Hell, I make videos picking apart anime for God's sakes. I'm kind of a patron saint of overanalyzing everything. However, what I think we all forget when we do this is that not every show has to be a deep, well-written story such as Frieren or Violet Evergarden to be good. Some of my favorite shows as a kid that influenced my humor and writing style to this very day didn't have super fleshed out stories, or in some cases, they didn't even have a story at all. But its allegiance to dumb fun, well-written dialogue, and jokes make them super memorable and invoke that childish feeling of just having fun. And that's what Gushing Over Magical Girls delivers. Minus the childish. I'm on an FBI watch list now, aren't I? The anime is a complete and total dive into degenerate, ecchi brain rot that will make you lose your last remaining brain cells in your head. But goddammit, you're gonna have a ton of fun doing it. Is it for everyone? No, not at all. There's gonna be people who absolutely despise this show's existence. But if you're looking for some turn your brain off fun, this is the show for you. And its conclusion encapsulates that perfectly. Because after 𝐸𝒞𝒞𝐻𝐼 beats Loco in labor, Kiwi decides to fight Sister Gigant, and in the process unlocks her true potential, and gets a somehow even skimpier outfit, if you can even call it that. And by doing that is able to beat boss battle number 3 of the Elite Four, which leads us to our final boss battle. 𝐸𝒞𝒞𝐻𝐼 takes on Lord 𝐸𝒐𝒻 and doesn't fare so well. She gets thrashed around quite a bit before she's finally able to conquer the enemy that was within her the entire time. The thing that's held her back since day one? Post-nut clarity. Once 𝐸𝒞𝒞𝐻𝐼 is able to not only let her intrusive thoughts win, but allow her intrusive thoughts to consume her from the inside out, she's able to unlock the power of absolute degeneracy to transform Lord 𝐸𝒐𝒻 into a form she can take advantage of. And as soon as she's able to gain control of the battle, she uses her newfound status to, and I do mean this as literally as possible, clap Lord 𝐸𝒻𝒻's cheeks. 𝐸𝒞𝒞𝐻𝐼 then takes over the entire Intermeda organization and changes their mission from world domination to basically sexually harassing magical girls for their entertainment. The show then ends with Azure of Trace Magia accepting her fetish and having one last battle with 𝐸𝒞𝒞𝐻𝐼. A true clash of degenerate titans. You know, this is supposed to be the part of the video where I conclude my thoughts and give my opinions on the show overall. But I don't think I'm going to do that this time. God, I'm just waiting for the age restriction.